What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch video, and today we are taking a look at the Eza 1972. So this watch was sent to me about 3 weeks ago from the brand Eza, and I have been wearing it intermittently throughout the past 3 weeks. And probably by the time this video is complete or airs, I need to have sent it back to them by then. So I will be sad to see it go. So I figured I'd do a full review and impressions that I have on the watch after wearing it for 3 weeks. So Eza is something of an enigma. They are a micro brand, however, they are a micro brand with history. Many new micro brands coming into the market don't really have a history to look back on, and they usually borrow heavily from brands like Omega and Rolex and other brands just to come up with ideas, and they're borrowing and they're creating somewhat of their own look, but a lot of times they are really borrowing very heavily. Now, Eza is a little bit different. They can trace their roots back to Germany in 1921 and to founder Hermann Becker. The brand was well known back then for producing waterproof cases and even created their own manufacturer movements. Since Eza also produced their own hands, dials, and cases, they actually eventually became a full-blown manufacturer, which is actually pretty cool. However, as many brands did during the quartz crisis, they fell victim to the quartz crisis and went out of business. And then recently, two young Dutch entrepreneurs decided to revive the brand. And to do so, they relied very heavily on the brand's past. Obviously, they revived the brand's name and they looked back to the past for inspiration for their watches. And they started out with 2 watches. First was the Sealander, which was a dive watch, and then they did the Airfighter, which is a pilot's watch, obviously. So a very strong entry to the market with 2 really cool watches. Now, this is their 3rd watch, I believe, that they've come out with. And like I said, this is the 1972. Eza really reached back into their history for inspiration and basically even bought up vintage versions of their dive watches from the 70s era to get the design right. And I really believe that they did here on this watch. Here are some of the specs. There are 2 versions of this watch. First, this is the 39mm. It's a reinterpretation of the original design. This is a regular production model. However, they are also producing a very limited edition 100-piece run that will be a 36mm case. Both of them will be powered by a 2824. This is actually a prototype that I have that I'm using. And they are adjusted in 6 positions by Eza. They are both made in Germany. The smaller of the 2 has the date at 3 o'clock. So does this one, obviously. And a plexiglass crystal instead of a sapphire, as this one has a sapphire crystal. And the original actually had a plexiglass, so that's the reason why they're doing that with the 36mm. And the 36mm has a fully synthetic bezel with only 30 meters of water resistance, again, like the original. The larger 39mm, which is the one that's in my hand, gets a sapphire crystal, date window at 3 o'clock again, stainless steel bezel with a ceramic insert here, and a water resistance to 200 meters. Dials come in blue or black, and the case material on both of these are 316L stainless steel. Case dimensions on the smaller one, the exact dimensions that the site gives are 35.8 by 44.3 millimeters, and for the larger one in my hands, 39.6, so closer to 40 millimeters, and 50 millimeters from lug end to lug end. Both come on an Italian leather rubber strap and a leather strap. This is the Italian leather strap, and they also come in with a Tropic rubber strap. So we'll do a quick wristwatch check, so you could see the watch and strap on my wrist. I have a 7.5-inch wrist. and this strap is extremely comfortable. I actually didn't even put it on the Tropic strap. I just loved it on this strap the entire time. The Tropic strap is very nice, and we'll do a strap change just so you guys can see how it looks on that strap, but you can see it looks absolutely fantastic on this supplied Italian calf strap. So before I get into what I love, I would like to take a note and say that this is a loaner watch. I don't get to keep it, and Eza are giving it, they gave it to me for review, and I really appreciate them sending this in for review. I really like the Sealander, and I really love the straps that they put them on, and I always thought they made a pretty cool watch. And when I saw this, I actually reached out to them, and they very nicely sent me the watch for review. And of course, like I said, I will be returning it. So what I really like is I'm so pleasantly surprised when I got the 1972 that the brand, like I said, was on my radar, but I didn't know that they were making such well-made watches. This watch is extremely well made. Right out of the box, it was the first thing that I noticed. And let you listen to the bezel on this watch. So it is a little bit hard to grip, but I will say it sounds fantastic. It's tight. It has no wibble, no wobble. It's just very, very tight. The crown is so easy to operate. It's smooth as butter, and it just feels fantastic on this watch. And it has it at a 28-24. The watch is actually made in Germany. Just generally a really nice watch. The crown is so cool on this watch. It is signed. You have a very nice polished case back. The whole watch is polished, and that has to be something that you like. 200 meters water resistant. Like I said, made in Germany, and it just says as on the back here. You have a little drawing of an engraving of a diver on the case back. I don't know if you could see that. With my lights here, it does light up the watch very well, and it does come in as almost black in like a black polish, and that's what it is really. So I immediately, when I got the watch, was very pleasantly surprised. I really, it looks a lot more expensive than the price that they're asking for this. So we'll get back to price, of course. The dimensions on this watch are excellent. 39 millimeters. It just wears perfectly. It's a very, very comfortable watch, and it's actually very thin. As you can see, the watch wears very thinly. It's just a very, very nice watch to wear, and very comfortable. I think it's around 11 millimeters thick, give or take, and it just wears very, very nicely. I really like how the bezel was applied here. It almost goes to the very edge of the actual metal of the stainless steel, so it looks like a vintage watch where the watch was actually a one-piece bezel, the composite that's used on the 36 millimeter. I think that's really cool that they did that. So it's also reminiscent of that, so it just looks really, really good. I like the history behind the brand. I know it's a revival of the brand, but I like that there was a history and that they are really staying true to that history. They're going back and they're getting information on their watches, and they're doing what they can to stay true to that. So that's something cool, and not something that you get typically from a micro brand, like I was saying before. So that's something I think that's actually special. I really like that they used an ETA movement, the 28-24, and it's been adjusted. And overall, it really is great that they actually kept that in the smaller movement, smaller watch. Even though the watch is much smaller, they were able to keep that 28-24, and it's not very thick at all, and that's a really, really good thing. And this watch, it really, looks-wise and quality-wise, can compete with the likes of Longines, Rado, Oris, any really dive watch from any of those major brands that they reissue. but really at a fraction of the price, but without any sacrificing of quality. I just, you know, I really have a lot of positive things to say about this watch. So really quickly, I'll do a strap change, and then we will go into what I don't like. Okay, so here it is. And this is the supplied Tropic rubber strap. Very soft, very supple strap. Looks really good on the wrist and fits really nicely. It's pretty long, actually, the one that they sent me, and it fits beautifully. There is quick release on the Italian leather strap. Very easy to get off. And then this does not, but it does come with a strap changing tool, and you can see that in the unboxing. It also comes with another signed buckle, so you don't have to change buckles, which is nice. So you get 2 buckles with the watch. Overall, I think it's a really great package. So then let me just talk about what I don't like about the watch. And if you couldn't tell, there really isn't much I don't like about the watch. The only thing I could say is that it is a high polish, so the whole watch is polished. And there is a ceramic bezel, but the ceramic bezel is glossy. It's very easy to read, and it works very, very nicely. However, when you are when you're looking at it head on, sometimes the case itself and the bezel, it sort of all looks black because it's a high polish. I actually really like it, and I think it's probably true to the original. So I think it really works, in my opinion. And honestly, I've very much considered buying one of these for myself because I like it so much. Other than that, the bezel action is a little hard. However, I spoke to Aaron, who is one of the owners of the brand, and he said that they are correcting that either by making it a little bit more grippy, which I think that would help, or changing it from I believe it's 120 to a 60 click bezel. So I think that might also do the trick. However, as it is, I wouldn't even change it. I maybe just make the bezel a little bit grippier. I think it's such a nice action on this watch. I can't see changing it. It's so nice. So yeah, that's all the negatives. I mean, I like everything about this watch. I especially like the dial, the applied indices, which I didn't mention before. The blue color on this dial, it's just absolutely beautiful. It just looks really, really good. I'm very, very, very happy with this watch. And I'm very sad to see it go. Anyway, accuracy on this watch, it has been very, very accurate. And this has been -4 seconds a day, and I've done a bunch of tests. It actually was a little bit more accurate than that most of the time. That was probably the worst that I've gotten. But yeah, so -4 per day, really not that bad. -4 seconds per day. And you know, just an all-around really cool watch. So price. Both models currently are on a pre-order. And if you pre-order, they are right now at $659. The pre-order discount is $100. So then at the end of the month, I think it's this month or next, I'm not sure, it goes up to $759. If this watch is available still at $659, I highly, highly recommend getting this watch. If it is at $759, it is still worth the money. This watch is fantastic. And if you have a smaller wrist and you want a watch like this, they are making a 100 run limited edition in 36 millimeters at no extra cost. So you can go and buy it for $659, which I think is fantastic. I really think that's really cool. Anyway, all right, now what I'll do is I'll shut off the lights and we'll do a quick lume shot, and then we will say goodbye. Okay guys, so here it is. Lume is excellent on this watch. Very thickly applied, I would imagine. It lasts a very long time. The bezel is lumed, and the hands and just the second hand there. However, the lume lasts a very long time. Like I mentioned, it's really, really nicely and generously applied. Overall, I really like this watch, and I will be very sad to see it go. However, it does have to go back, and it will probably go back very shortly after I have made this video or aired this video. But if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. Please also don't forget to follow me on Instagram at WatchChrisBlog. And thank you for logging on.